Good morning, fellow treble winners. Manchester City head to Old Trafford tomorrow for the Manchester derby. It's going to be a fascinating game of football. Yes, I'm not at home, so I'm in my webcam, unfortunately. Sorry about that. I'm away for the weekend in Yorkshire. I know, boo. We wanted to go to a beach with the little one, me and Nicola, so hence why I'm in Airbnb currently. But still, I had to talk about the big game tomorrow. I had to talk about the pride of Manchester taking on the dregs of Manchester, as it currently is. I'm not jinxing that, I promise you. Of course, it's the Manchester derby tomorrow. The treble winners head to it, and the only other treble winners in English football, Man United. It's going to be a massive game of football. Of course, United aren't really doing that well right now. Currently sat down in 8th, but you cannot deny their pedigree overall. It isn't going to be an easy game of football. Well, it could be, but on paper, these things are never usually easily because, once again, it is United and local pride is at stake, at least for some of us. Maybe local pride for some people in London as well. Or those in Ireland or Scandinavia. There's nothing wrong with supporting overseas. I just had to get the digs in. I had to. Either way, I'm sure United need the points to try and find a way to work up to their favourite spot in the table, 6th. Currently sat in 8th, of course. It hasn't been a good start for United. Won 5, lost 4, though. You know, currently behind Newcastle, Brighton, Villa. Long may continue that way, of course. And currently in a fight to even get the top 4 full stop. 4 points behind Liverpool in the top 4 already after 9 games. Of course, we're 5 points behind Spurs, who won last night as well. Big Ange absolutely flying over there. But this is a big game, and I think this come at a really nice time as well, because people started to question Manchester City a tiny little bit after a few losses. And that's fair enough. If you're Manchester City and you're treble winners and you have 3 losses inside a month, people are going to question you. And it's good because we've had a couple of wins since then. Of course, Brighton game the other night in the Champions League against Young Boys. City are looking sort of back to themselves, and Guardiola started to feel out what could potentially be his best 11. So, I think this has come at a really nice time, you know. Questions about Manchester City's quality, you know, something to prove to an extent. And I think right now, Pep will be leaning into this team and really getting ready for this game. Guardiola had, of course, lots to say in the Champions League, in the press conference. He said, "I want to see how our mentality is at Old Trafford. We won a lot, and it's not about what we win now. What is going to happen? It's about that." I want to see my team in big scenarios like this. They have to play the right way. Yeah, he's right. He's right, absolutely. He wants to see how they react. And I think he's really curious, for those reasons we just underlined, to see how the players react to this, given everything that's gone on recently. He did say about the title race, he said it's too early. All the teams are there, and even the ones behind can be there. When you play just 9 games, many things are going to happen. Been behind in February, March, but still be able to win. Exactly. Absolutely. He talks about the rivalry as well. He said it's okay. It's a good rivalry. No big issues happened in my 8 seasons. We won games, lost. The FA Cup final was special because we win and go to the treble. It was so important to go to Istanbul. Let's talk about that. Of course, the last time we played these, Gundogan did his thing. We beat them on the way to the historic treble, 2-0 in the FA Cup final. Special stuff. And before that, of course, as well, there was that dramatic incident at Old Trafford last year, which still does. It triggered the hell out of me. I can't even deny it didn't. The Rashford Fernandes offside goal. Honestly, one of the most infuriating I've ever been in a football game, because it was just nonsense. They won that 2-1 after us going ahead 1-0. We lost our cool. They conceded a late second. Before that, of course, we should have had about 10 early on at home with the Etihad when we beat them 6-3. Then we were absolutely smashing them. Took our foot off the gas a little bit and ended up 6-3. But I want to see something similar to that tomorrow. I honestly believe it could be as well. That's the thing. I think this side has got all the qualities to do that again. And I think we're in a good spot right now, you know. He said us more about the game as well. Guardiola said, when at Barca and Bayern, Old Trafford was always special. A special occasion and place. It's special for fans, but it's just a game. It's not a final. The match won't define the season. There's still 30 games to go, but we have to be focused. I mean, that's Guardiola's attempt to sort of just not build up too much because he doesn't think it's worth it. But he is right, though. It is a big game. It absolutely is a big game. It always is at Old Trafford. And of course, we can't deny the added poignancy from the tragic loss of Sir Bobby Charlton. Rest in peace, mate. It's one of those things where that will add a kind of somberness to the occasion. And you know, I don't think it's going to change the game too much, but we can't deny that game potentially does mean a lot for an awful lot of people in that stadium, and that could feed into it a little bit. And I hope, by the way, it passes wonderfully, you know, because a legend, an absolute legend, and yeah. Rest in peace, Sir Bobby Charlton, and I'm sure there'll be absolutely no problems whatsoever in terms of like the actual, you know, the available squad, I think we are where we are. De Bruyne, of course, being the one that's out still, unfortunately. But we've still got a really strong squad available for this game. Everyone's basically back, and everyone's looking pretty fit. And ready for it. And I got a feeling, when we talk about how we can line up, we sort of know based on the young boys game, we know that there's going to be multiple changes. And I know what I want to see, and I think I know what Guardiola's going to do. Immediately, I want to see Ederson in goal. Ederson there. The back four I want to see personally. Kanji's out, don't forget. So it'll be Kyle Walker at the right. I think it'll be Ruben Diaz, John Stones, the centre-back. So you'll have Kyle Walker, John Stones and Diaz. Stones, of course, nominally centre-back. Then left back or left centre back, depending on the formation or the state of play, I guess. I want to see 𝙤𝙬𝙞𝙩𝙬𝙚. He was rested the other day. Now I love Nathan Ake, baby, but 𝙤𝙬𝙗𝙗, I don't know. I think there's something about he's definitely slightly better on the ball than Nathan Ake. And I think at United, with Old Trafford, I think there'll be an occasion at Old Trafford. I think the fans will be really up for it for many reasons. I think his calmness on the ball will be really useful. He's also rested, of course, so you can't ignore that. And I think the fact that Pep rested him the other day sort of says it all. Pep loves 𝙤𝙬𝙗𝙗𝙗. He's definitely going to play in this game, in my personal opinion. So there's your back four: Kyle Walker, John Stones, Rodri, 𝙤𝙬𝙗𝙗𝙗. But we know John Stones will move into midfield, and I want to see him move into midfield alongside Rodri. So there's your double pivot: Rodri and John Stones. I think ahead of them, I think we'll see 2 8s. It'll be Bernardo Silva and Alvarez. Then on the right, it'll be Phil Foden. Phil Foden will be there, but obviously with a license to cut in and do what he wants, sort of with a free reign. Running at they've got I think the surgeon's Reguilón is back, I think, isn't he? I don't know, but either way, they haven't got the best fullback strength at the moment because of injuries and so on. I think on the left, I want to see Doku, but at the same time, I'm happy if Jack Grealish starts. I think Jack Grealish was really good the other day. Guardiola had this to say about Jack Grealish. He said, the plan is to play the way he played in Switzerland. He has to fight for his mates with every single action in every game. We need him, we need everyone, and we were very pleased with the game he played. Rightfully so. I think it was his best game in a while, actually. I think he looked like Jack Grealish that we saw towards the end of last season, who was pivotal in that Champions League running. He was creative, he was hard-working, he looked a bit sharper, a little bit fitter. I think he's taking a bit of time to get back into his full fitness stride this season, obviously with injuries and so on, and a little bit slow to get going again. I mean, he's a player who needs a lot of games and a lot of rhythm, but I think Guardiola might be tempted, to play Jack Grealish because Grealish does have that control. And once again, we talked about with 𝙤𝙬𝙗𝙗𝙗, someone who can control the situation a little bit and kind of control the Old Trafford atmosphere. I don't think it's a bad idea to play Jack Grealish. Having said that, I really am relaxed who he plays. Look, you win. I think we win with either of those playing Doku or Grealish personally. I think we can't go wrong. But who do I think Guardiola will play? I think he'll play Jack Grealish. I'm 60-40 in thinking he'll play Jack Grealish over Doku for the reasons that we just stated. Having said that, a small part of me is not a small part of me, a loud part of me is screaming, play Doku and let him loose on Dalot or whatever, because he will cause trouble. He will run them ragged. We will see. And of course, up top, it'll be Haaland. So there's your formation, the 3-2, the 3-2-4-1, basically, with the back. When we've got the ball, the back three will be 𝙤𝙬𝙗𝙗𝙗, Diaz and Kyle Walker. Kanji out, of course, so it'll be that. It could also be that Kyle Walker's going to play because of Rashford, almost certainly. Then the two pivots are John Stones and Rodri. Your wingers or Jack and Doku, Jack or Doku and Foden, and then Bernardo Silva centrally. Of course, you'll sort of play ahead of Rodri and Stones. Likewise, Julian Alvarez, who looked immense the other day when he came on. So I expect it'll be that, and then Haaland through the middle. When I see Haaland in a big game, man, I fancy Haaland to do something special here. He cares. And I like the fact that we've got, Foden, Haaland, City fans in the team. Rico Lewis, he's not going to start, unfortunately, but I'd love to see him involved at some point as a City fan. Maybe Sergio Gomez too, for the same reasons. He is a City fan, which people forget. In terms of United, I spoke to 3 United fans this week, all from the Stratford Paddock. I spoke to Jay Marty, Joe Smith and Adam McCullough. I did a big old episode. You can go watch it. I'll try and put it on screen if I remember to. But it's called Off the Bar on Stratford Paddock's channel, where I chatted to McCullough and Joe for a while. And they were so down on United. They weren't. They were trying to be positive. But you could tell that this season's hurt them a tiny bit. And rightfully so. I mean, you look at the results. I've actually had a couple of wins recently, but like they've just not been impressive at all. Even against Copenhagen the other day, Copenhagen had a better XG. They won 1-0 United at home, but Copenhagen had like an XG of 2.04, United 1.6, something like that. Like Copenhagen should have got something from that game. It was crazy. Against Sheffield United, I watched that game and Sheffield United were in the match, and they've been terrible. They beat Brentford, fair play, but they lost to Galatasaray. They lost to Palace before that. They struggled against Burnley. No one struggled against Burnley this season, if we're being honest. They lost to Bayern. They lost to Brighton. They only just got past Forest as well. They've really had a tough time. Lost to Spurs, of course. We'll probably do that, so I can't say anything. Lost to Arsenal. They're having a really stinker of a time so far. I mean, they are with injuries. I can't deny that, but they still have quality players there, man. They do. I think they're going to play Amrabat. If Casemiro back, maybe it'll be him. I do think they'll play Fernandes, Antony, and Rashford off Højlund. Maguire and Varane will probably play with Reguilon, Dalot, and Onana. Onana's had obviously a terrible start to the season, but he was immense in the Champions League final against us for Inter Milan, so maybe we'll see that side coming out. I don't know. I did, of course, do an opposition preview as well with Jay, who's a top bloke. Watch that. It's on the channel. I did put it out yesterday. Jay's ace. Go watch that. Give it a go. Watch and see what you reckon of his thoughts ahead of the derby. But anyway, my prediction. Look, I only have two outcomes. We either have a frustrating defeat because Old Trafford and VAR, or we batter them. And I'm hoping it's the latter. And I'm going to say, hopefully, maybe I won't say batter, but like a 3-0 or something like that. I hope we control it nicely. I feel confident. I think United are in a weird place, and I feel like we're going to go there with our big boy pants on, man, and really go for it. And I think we're going to see a bit of control, and Roger will have a masterclass with John Stones in the centre. I think it's going to be too much for them. I think Phil will be up for it. Foden, it's the same person. Phil and Foden will be up for it. I think Jack will be, and I think Haaland will be. Bernardo loves Old Trafford, man. He loves a derby game. He really does. And Ruben, Josco, the rest of them, I've got no doubts whatsoever. I'm going to go 3-0, I reckon. Fingers crossed I am right. Guys, just a quick video while I'm away. I'm going to go on the beach now with a little one. And the wife, I can't wait for it. Subscribe, like, watch the video from yesterday. In a bit, you Blues. Come on, City.